Every day you are faced with an infinite number of things that come at you. Let's call them dots. To be effective, you need to be able to tell which dots are important and which dots are not. Some people go through life collecting all sorts of observations and opinions like pocket lint. Instead of just keeping what they need, they have detail anxiety, worrying about unimportant things. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I just have a couple of people. Good morning, everybody. I just have a couple of people who are joining on the Zoom as well. So let's add them to the Zoom. And then here we go. It is time for some more reading of Ray Dalio Principles. We're having a great time reading this one. And we are up to 5.1. Recognize that the biggest threat to good decision-making is harmful emotions, and decision-making is a two-step process. Actually, no, we already read that section. We're up to 5.2. Synthesize the situation at hand. So yesterday we were talking about synthesizing, and so today we're going to go a little bit deeper, I think, into that part about synthesizing and being able to look at the ideas and the things that you need to do in order to be able to make the decision in a different way. Here we go. Let's get into it so that we are motivated and have something to implement for our day so that we can get better and achieve our goals. Every day you are faced with an infinite number of things that come at you. Let's call them dots. To be effective, you need to be able to tell which dots are important and which dots are not. Some people go through life collecting all sorts of observations and opinions like pocket lint. Instead of just keeping what they need, they have detail anxiety, worrying about unimportant things. Sometimes small things can be important. For example, that little rattle in your car's engine could just be a loose piece of plastic, or it could be a sign your timing belt is about to snap. The key is having the higher level perspective to make fast and accurate judgments on what the real risks are without getting bogged down in details. Remember, A, one of the most important decisions you can make is who you ask questions of. Make sure they're fully informed and believable. Find out who is responsible for whatever you are seeking to understand and then ask them. Listening to uninformed people is worse than having no answers at all. B, don't believe everything you hear. Opinions are a dime a dozen, and nearly everyone will share theirs with you. Many will state them as if they are facts. Don't mistake opinions for facts. C, everything looks bigger up close. In all aspects of life, what's happening today seems like a much bigger deal than it will appear in retrospect. That's why it helps to step back to gain perspective and sometimes defer a decision until some time passes. D, new is overvalued relative to great. For example, when choosing which movie to watch or what book to read, are you drawn to proven classics or the newest big thing? In my opinion, it is smarter to choose the great over the new. And E, don't over squeeze dots. A dot is just one piece of data from one moment in time. Keep that in perspective as you synthesize. Just as you need to sort big from small and what's happening in the moment from overall patterns, you need to know how much learning you can get out of any one of those dots without overweighing it. So we want to be able to make sure that we synthesize the information that's coming in. Is something important? Is something not important? And this is something that I think also our brains do by themselves. So there is a principle called the 7 plus or minus 2. And it says that whatever, as a human, as our brain goes through and looks at different things, it will decide what is important and what's not important. And the way it does that is by the questions that we ask not of others, which is part A here, but what we ask of ourselves. So if I am always telling myself that I am no good, my brain will want to believe that that is true because I am saying it. And so it will look for proof that I am no good. If, on the other hand, I am saying that I am wonderful, then it will look for proof saying that I am wonderful. So if we want to become more successful, we need to ask ourselves and make statements towards ourselves where we are good as opposed to bad. There was once a guy playing tennis with his tennis partner, and they were playing doubles. And every time that the partner, the tennis partner, missed the ball or hit it into the net or did something not correct, he would quickly shout out to himself, "Oh, you idiot, John. Oh, John, how could you have missed that one? Oh, John, that was such an easy one." And so his partner said to him, "Look, if you're going to be on my team, I want you to be as positive with yourself as you are with me. Because when I miss one, you tell me, oh, you'll make it next time. Oh, it doesn't really matter. It's okay." So we want to do the same with ourselves. Because the way it works is that we get probably about 10 million pieces of information coming at us. We pick up things through our eyes, through our ears, through our nose, and all of that gets translated into something. Once that information comes in, there is way too much for us to be able to consciously process. And some of that, we don't even know that it's there. So, for example, I could be walking down the street and I could be looking to the right, but my brain still knows what's going on to the left of me. It's paying attention to the sounds. It's paying attention to various other things that it can do that I just can't. And it will know more or less everything that's going on around me. But it has to decide which information do I allow to go to the conscious mind and which information do I not. So based on the questions that we ask ourselves is the information that we're going to get. So anything that we ask ourselves, our brain is going to think that that is important to us. So a classic example that I use a lot is, imagine if you wake up in the morning and you say, "Oh, I wonder what I could do to make my partner more happy today." Our brain is like Google, and it will then go out and say, making the partner happy today is going to be very, very important because we asked ourselves about this. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for information about that. It goes higher on the list of things that are important for the day. So as I'm walking down the street, I might be walking on the right-hand side of the street where I have always walked. I've never really walked on the left-hand side. And all of a sudden, as I get halfway, boom, my brain says, look to the left. You get that intuition, you look to the left and you see a florist. You think, oh, I could buy her some flowers. And so you do the thing that you intended to do because the information was now given to you. You have never noticed that florist before, but your brain knows that it's there. And so because you've asked yourself the question, it is on your side. It's like Google going out to look for the information that you request. So if you hit the button enter, after you've typed in a question in Google, it will go out and it will find anything that's relevant to that. Nothing else, only the things that are relevant to that. And our brains do the same. How can I make my partner more happy? It will be on the lookout the whole day for us, looking for things that we can do that will make our partner more happy. Yesterday, I think it was, I was walking somewhere and I'd been asking myself that exact question, and I saw that Disney Holiday on Ice is coming. There we go. So I noticed it because my brain was pointing me in that direction. I could have walked a different way, but I happened to walk past that ad, which it must have seen a couple of days earlier, but just didn't register. But my brain had registered it. So very, very interesting how these things work. So you want to be able to ask other people, but you also want to be able to ask yourself. Very often we think that the answers lie with other people, that they know the best ways for us to be able to achieve success. Really, we are the creators of our own destiny, and we have the answers inside of ourselves. We just need to ask ourselves. We can also ask outside opinions, because we never only ask one person. But a lot of it actually comes down to what we ask ourselves. How can I do this? What would it take to be able to do this? Who can help me with this? How do I find somebody that can help me with this? And then the other people will turn up. And now you will automatically have the more believable people. And then don't believe everything you hear. Absolutely. There are plenty of people who don't understand these principles. And so they are the tennis player who will constantly shout at themselves and be upset with themselves. And so that's what they're going to be attracting in their lives. If you are constantly complaining about something, then Google is going to do a search to prove that that's the case. So be very careful who you listen to. Ask yourself those questions first. Attract the right people, and then you can ask them, and they'll be able to give you really good advice. Everything looks bigger up close. So this is something that we noticed with regards to, for example, coronavirus. When we were in the middle of it, it seemed like a much bigger deal than, for example, now. And in 5 more years, we will look back and go, that was quite interesting how we all reacted to it. Because now we look back at it and we think, oh, maybe we didn't have to make such a big fuss. Now, that's just one example, but everything in our lives, when we are in the moment, we are full of emotion. And that emotion is going to cloud our judgment. So you want to realize that something is going to be different in a couple of years' time. So, for example, when something embarrassing happens to me, I will maybe be embarrassed for about 5 seconds, and then I'll say, wow, in 5 years' time, I'm going to be laughing about this. And so I start laughing immediately after those 5 seconds. Everything that's happened to you that has been embarrassing, that you thought you would never live down, you always managed to survive it. And so when you look back, there were many moments where you thought that the worst thing ever was happening. It might have been a breakup. It might have been something embarrassing. It might have been something else. But in that moment, it seemed terrible. And then fast forward 5 years away from that, and you survive. Nobody's really talking about it anymore. Nobody really cares, probably. And you are still able to achieve what you wanted to achieve because that is no longer relevant to what's going on now, because everybody's forgotten about it. And every moment that has something big attached to it is going to pass at some stage and will be irrelevant to whatever is happening to you now. So if you notice something like this, just think about the fact that in 5 years' time, nobody will care anymore. And maybe you'll have a better partner if it's a breakup. Maybe something better will come out of it. And again, that puts that positive spin onto everything. And when it comes to new and new versus great, so classic films stay classic because there are things in there that make them interesting for people throughout different generations. And those are the ones that survive the new phase. Whereas if you think that you're going to go to the movies and you're going to watch the latest and greatest, it might only be interesting to people for a very short period of time. Whereas some of them will become classics, but not all of them will become classics. And so with regards to information, it's the same thing. Very often we want to go for the thing that is new, that is exciting. But it's very often the way in which things have already been done that have already achieved successful people, that those are the bits of information that we need to be implementing, because the classics will always be classic and will allow people to achieve success. And don't over squeeze the dots. There are so many pieces of information coming in that you absolutely do not want to place too much emphasis on any of those pieces of information. We receive information all the time. We need to quickly have a look at them and then let them go and move on to the next one so that we have a broad array of information. If you are constantly focused on just one thing, let's say, for example, that you want to find a new partner. Let's say that you did go through a breakup. You want to find a new partner. Now imagine if you only date one girl or one guy. Then if you're only focused on that one person and you never go out with anybody else, then how are you going to know? How are you going to be able to compare them to somebody else? So we need to do different things and have a look at different things. And then once we've done that, then we can make a decision because we have things to compare it to so that we get the best outcome. But if we constantly just take one piece of information that's coming and we just hold on to that and analyze that and look at that and do nothing else but that, then of course it's going to cause a bit of an issue because we have nothing to compare it to. And we might take something and work with that, even though it's not the best outcome for us. So for example, when I had my cafe, I used to have suppliers. And obviously, I take a supplier, and that supplier will give me very good quality fruit and vegetables to start off with. Then all of a sudden, they have another new client coming in, so they give them the best fruit and vegetables, and the quality that I receive goes down a little bit. So if I stick with that one and become very, very loyal to them, I might not get the best results out of it. So I need to constantly be comparing them to other people and keeping them sharp, as it were, in order to make sure that they keep giving me very, very good quality, because otherwise my customers are going to suffer and then my business suffers. So I need to make sure that I can maybe help them with their new customers as well. But really, I need to focus on my own things, and I need to make sure that I continue to get good quality. Otherwise, they will survive and my business will fail. So these are the kinds of things that we need to look at when we're synthesizing information. This is how the brain processes information. And hopefully that will give you some things that you can implement today in order to be able to improve your ability to achieve the success that you want. So we'll leave it at that. Tomorrow we're going to go through 5.3, synthesize the situation through time. This one looks very exciting as well. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, get in touch and let me know. So you can see the recordings and let me know there as a comment on the videos on the Passive Cash Flow Club, which is our YouTube channel. Would love to be able to see you there. Make sure you subscribe. One, because you'll know when we upload the reading videos, but also we do question and answer sessions. So you send through your questions and we answer them. And so we've been putting those up. If it's a question that you asked, you'll be notified and you'll know when those questions have gone up. And if you don't ask questions, that's probably a little bit sad, but that's okay. Not all of us are big question askers. I used to not be a very big question asker. So if you still subscribe, you will be able to find out when those question and answer sessions come through. And it might be a question that you have that you didn't know that you had that answers one of your questions and solves one of your investing challenges. So make sure you subscribe and you'll be able to get access to those. Also, if you want to ask a question or if you'd like to know about our simulations and game nights and networking and masterminds and different other things that we run, get in touch on Instagram. You can get in touch via business_team_6_official. I'm looking forward to seeing you there, getting to know you. And it is amazing seeing so many people online. So we've got Mel with a lot of numbers after her name, sent a heart, and La Migada, MRB, and Byram, and lots of other great people. Mel sent some more hearts. Thank you so much for that. And Sandra said, yay. And the 7% Club, I like the name. That sounds great. And the IPSE, thank you for the hearts as well. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining. I would love to get to know you better. So feel free to reach out on Instagram, business_team_6_official. And I'm looking forward to getting to know more of you. So I leave you at that and have an absolutely amazing day today. Remember to make the switch to unlock your rich. Have a great day. And yeah, keep looking for new and improved ways of doing things, because there's a faster and more efficient way of doing everything. If you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same results. So make that switch, and that's how you're going to unlock your rich. Have an absolutely amazing day. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again tomorrow for another reading at 8 a.m. Sydney time. And thank you again so much for joining. I'm going to jump over to Bigo and say hello to everybody that joined over there.